Siddharth, Deepika. Am I audible? Hello, beta. Please tell me, am I audible to you guys? Yes, beta, you can unmute yourself and talk to me. There is no issue, beta. Siddharth and Deepika, you guys can unmute, and if you want to say something, you can tell me. So how are you, Siddharth and Deepika? Is everything is fine?
Fine.
Yes, beta. Great, great. Topic is basically it is a topic of 11th class itself, but it is known as redox reaction, and sometimes it is also called as volumetric analysis, or it can be also termed as equivalent concepts. So it's a topic basically redox reaction, related to redox reaction. If you see NCERT in which, so can you see what I am writing? Redox reaction. Our next topic is redox reaction. We also call it equivalent concept. Then we can also term it as volumetric analysis. This is all three are the same name, right? So in this topic, if we see, it's just a continuation. We have studied some terms, right? Like mole fraction. We have studied molarity. We have studied molality, right? Molality. Percentage weight by volume, percentage weight by weight. All these topics we have already studied, right? So there is another term is known as normality. Okay, there will be many problems which are related to normality, especially with acid-base titration. So to solve the problem related to normality, you require one beautiful concept, one beautiful and very important concept, that is equivalence. What are equivalents? How do we calculate it? What is equivalent weight? Similar to molecular weight, it is equivalent weight. Okay, so this is another term, normality, which we will deal in the coming chapters. So what we have decided, generally we cover this topic later in the syllabus, but actually this topic also, you require knowledge of this topic to solve problems of ionic equilibrium, thermodynamics. So we have decided that we should give you all the concepts related to this topic beforehand, right? So we will move slowly, and in this topic we will cover, first thing is our oxidation number. Oxidation number. If you remember, I have discussed this topic in the initial classes when we were discussing some fundamental concepts or basic concepts, when we were covering some topics of 9th and 10th class, right? Any one of you? If you remember that we have discussed little bit of very basic of this topic, oxidation number. Any one of you? Please quickly respond, beta. Tanu, Niharika. Mansa, Deepika, any one of you, if you can directly say no if you do not remember. No, sir. Okay. Okay, beta. No issues. Then there will be next topic, oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent. No, Niharika, not like that. Okay, just wait for a few seconds. You will wait for a few minutes. We will cover this topic today only. Oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Then next topic will be our redox reaction, balancing of redox reaction. Balancing of redox reactions. Just a second. Right. Then fourth topic might be related to equivalent concept. Equivalent concept. So basically, to deal with the equivalent concept, you require this knowledge. Prior to that, you require this knowledge. How do we calculate oxidation number? What are oxidizing agent and reducing agent? And how do we balance redox reaction? Right. And then equivalent concept. Then we will also understand law of equivalence. Right. Then in the later part of the chapter, in the later topic of the chapter, we will also discuss titration. All right. Titration. Titration, there will be different type of titrations. Acid base titration. Okay. Then there might be double titration, back titration. Okay. But in NEET, if you see, this is important for you. Acid base, not double and back. They do not ask question from you for double and back titration. They are not going to ask you on this. But there are another thing, iodometry. It is also important. Then iodometry. This is another topic of titration. These are very simple, small, and very important topics. They will ask you direct question. As I have told you many times, in NEET, they do not go into the depth. Okay, they just ask you questions on the basic concepts, right? So you need to cover all the basic concepts to score good. Then 7, if you have learned all this, so on the basis of that, they are going to ask some other topics like labeling of oleum. Labeling of oleum. We will understand what is oleum and what do we understand from labeling. 8th, percentage of chlorine in bleaching powder. Bleaching powder. Then we will understand volume strength of H2O2. Volume strength of H2O2. And then there will be another topic, that is hardness of water. These are very simple formula based question. You will see they are going to ask you formula based question. So hardness of water. So these are some topics which we are going to cover. So while you are revising, okay, this topic, after completion, you just ensure that all the topics which are written on the first page are covered thoroughly. Okay, you have understood, at least you are knowing the formula, at least you are knowing the definition of the topic, so that when they are asking you question, you are able to solve it. So if I start with our first topic, that is oxidation number, right? So let us start with our first topic, that is oxidation number.
Sir, I know oxidation number of the oxygen.
No, not exactly, beta. It is not the number of oxygen, right? So it is something else, beta. It is something else. Just wait, I will tell you. This is oxidation number, sometimes also written as oxidation state. There is very minute difference. But if nothing is mentioned, you can use these two terms, oxidation number and oxidation state, interchangeably. That they are asking in some question oxidation number, and they are also asking oxidation state. There is very minute difference. So we will discuss it, but initially you do not need to worry about it. Oxidation number. So see, to study this topic, actually this topic, as I have told you, this topic comes in the later part of 11th class. If you see the NCERT, it is given in the second book. It is the first topic of the second book. So before that, you must have studied periodic table, electronegativity concept. Then there are certain other concepts. But as we are covering it today or in the coming chapters, so I will be giving you some extra things which you have not covered yet. The first thing is that I will be telling you the position of elements and the groups. Little bit I will give you idea about that, right? Then I will also give you idea about electronegativity, a basic idea about electronegativity, right? So see, if you see, we have studied in the initial part that substance can be of pure substance, or they can be mixtures, right? Or there can be compounds, right? Pure substance can be elements or compounds. If you remember, pure substance can be elements or compounds, right? So generally when I will be writing combined state, so this is combined state, combined state. In this case, more than one element will be combining to form a new molecule, okay, in which the original properties or the actual properties or the inherent properties of the elements will not be present. So that is compounds. For example, H2O, right? Ammonia, like this. Elements, for example, hydrogen, oxygen, like this, or nitrogen. I can also write some example of compounds, NaOH. Elements can be sodium solid, right? So there are two terms which I am going to use frequently. One is whenever it is talked about element. So sometimes I will be writing free state. So if somewhere is written free state, it means if they are present, the state of the element which is present or which is available naturally, the state or the combination of atoms of the same element present naturally. For example, hydrogen. For example, hydrogen in nature is present as hydrogen gas, H2. Oxygen in nature is present as O2 gas. Similarly, nitrogen, it is present in the nature as N2. If you say something else, for example, sulfur, then it exists as S8. Phosphorus, it exists as P4, solid. This is also solid. These are all gases. If you say Na solid, then sodium, it is present as solid in solid state. Magnesium, it is also present in solid state. So generally all the metals, they exist in solid state. There are some exceptions like mercury, it is present in liquid state. So this is free state. If I am talking about free state, then I am just asking the state of the element which is present naturally and its combination, that it is made up of two atoms or 3 atoms or 4 atoms or 8 atoms. Okay, so with the atomicity and its physical state, you have to mention its physical state as well as its atomicity. For example, for hydrogen, its atomicity is 2. For its atomicity is 2. It's 2. Here it is 8. Here it is 4. Is this okay, beta? Is this okay? Yes. Great. So this is beta free state. This is free state. No other element is present. Yeah. If you see here only hydrogen, here only sulfur, here only phosphorus. So this is called as free state. but this is combined state where more than one elements are present. So what happens, I am taking one example. Let's say sulfur forms a compound that is SO3. Okay, gas, this is solid. So I am telling you, just for now, you just believe me that if something is present in free state, its oxidation number is 0. Its oxidation number is always 0. Right? I will give you the concept in the later part why we consider the oxidation number of atoms in the free state as 0. So oxidation number, what is oxidation number? It is, I will tell you that it is nothing but it is charge present on the atoms. Okay, it is nothing but charge, and this charge can be real or it can be fictitious. Fictitious means it can be hypothetical. So it is nothing but a charge present on atom, individual atom, right? This charge can be real or fictitious. I will give you the definition. So in this case, S8, if something is present in free state, then its oxidation number is beta 0, right? For now, I am telling that if you want to check the oxidation number of sulfur in this, then it will be 6. So we have studied in the initial part, we have studied that if you want to form Na plus ion, to form one Na plus ion, you need to lose one electron. So in the similar manner, if you want to form sulfur 6 plus 6, its oxidation number is plus 6. Okay, so you need to lose how many electrons? If you want to form sulfur from 0 to plus 6, how many electrons it need to lose? Any one of you? Any one of you? Two. But if it wants to form plus 6, then how many electron it need to lose? Please think again. See, beta no, Aviram, no beta. Like, okay, I will give you another example. If you want to convert Mg to Mg plus 2, then it need to lose 2 electrons beta. If you want to carry the charge of 2, then you have to lose 2 electrons. If you want to carry the charge of plus 6, then you have to lose the 6 electron. How many electrons? How many electrons beta? If you want to just subtract 6 minus 0, that is 6. So as it is having positive charge, I have already told you these are nothing but these are cations. So to form cation or to have positive charge, you have to lose electrons. Then only positive charge will come, right? So I will give you another example that if manganese in free state, it wants to form a compound, let's say KMnO4. Okay, so in the free state, it will be having charge 0. In the free state, it is going to have charge 0, right? But in KMnO4, it will be having charge, for now I am telling you that plus 7. So how many electrons it is losing? 7, great. Anyone else? It's just a difference beta. It's just a difference of charges on the left hand. Yeah, great. Yes, now you guys are getting. So yes, that's 7 only, right? So if you want to define oxidation number, you can define it like that. Number of electron lost or number of electron gained to form a compound from free state to combined state. Okay, to form a compound or to transform from free state to combined state. So I'm writing the definition here. Oxidation number can be understood as number of electrons gained or lost to transform from free state to combined state for given element. It's a very simple topic, you will enjoy it. Okay, for given element, beta, right? For given element. So if you are converting any element from free state to combined state, then the change in the or the gain of the electron or the loss of the electron that is taking place is known as its oxidation number. Okay, so if someone is gaining electron, okay, then it will have negative oxidation number, and if someone is losing electron, then it will have positive. So if element is losing electron, then it will carry positive oxidation number. Did you get it, beta, or shall I repeat it? Clear? Anyone else, beta? Anyone else?
Sir, repeat.
Beta, if someone is losing electron, as I have told you that atoms are electrically neutral. If you remember in the initial classes, I have told you that atoms are electrically neutral. They contain same number of positive charge and same number of negative charge. But as electrons are removing or electrons are losing, okay, so negative charge will decrease and relatively positive charge will increase. Okay, so it will gain positive oxidation number. Negative is going. If negativity is going, it means positivity is coming in your character. On the other hand, if element is gaining electron, it is a negative. Yes. Yeah, beta. Then it will carry negative charge, negative oxidation number. Okay. So let me write another statement that will clear your all doubts, that this charge, the charge present on element, I am talking about charge present on atom of any element, on atom of an atom of given element can be real or fictitious. Fictitious bole to beta hypothetical. It can be hypothetical. That in real it does not exist. In reality it does not exist. Okay. So this statement is clear or not? I will illustrate it with the examples. But if you have understood this, how many of you have understood this statement? Yeah, Niharka has understood. What about others, beta? I'm not getting response from Mansa, Deepika, Samala, Tanu. Yes, beta. Yes. Great, beta. Yeah, Tarun. Yes, tell me, beta. What is your doubt, Tarun? You can unmute yourself and tell me. You can unmute and tell me. See, as strength is not so much, so there are only 10-15 students, so you can always unmute yourself and tell me, and mute yourself again, so you can interact directly. Okay, there is no issue. You can while I am speaking, try to listen, and then while I am writing, then also you just write, and in between, if you encounter any doubt, you can directly unmute yourself and tell me. Yes, Tarun, any doubt, beta? Tarun? So okay, let us continue. Charge present on atom of given element can be real or fictitious. What does it mean? It means, just focus here, beta. Charge or oxidation number will be real in case of ionic compounds. Ionic compounds. In case of ionic compounds, the charge present on ions is real. Charge present on ions. Charge present on ions. We largely consider it as real. Okay. For example, in NaCl, right now I am telling you, just focus. In NaCl, sodium exists as Na plus and chlorine as minus. So the oxidation number of sodium will become +1 and oxidation number of chlorine will become -1. Similarly, if I take another example, Na3 or Ca3PO4 ka whole twice, then in this case, calcium is +2 and phosphorus is nothing but -3. So the oxidation number over calcium is +2 in this case. Okay. Is that okay, beta? We are not talking about collectively of phosphate ion. The other one is phosphate ion. So we will deal with later, right? So if some compound is ionic, how will you understand the compound is ionic? All the salts, okay, salts which we get after the reaction of acid and base. So all the salts, okay, in that case, the ions present and the charge on the ions is real. Okay, so this is our first case. And in another case, charge present or oxidation number present on individual atom in case of covalent compounds is fictitious or hypothetical. So I have just given you idea that how will you segregate ionic and covalent. For now, you do not need to worry. You just understand that all the salts are considered as ionic. Or you can also I can give you hints. How will you understand salt? This is salt. Salts kahan se milta hai beta? After the acid base reaction. Okay, reaction of acid base. Reaction of acid and base. Acid and base. Right? Right. And also, how will you get the idea? For now, as we are just starting our topic, we have not studied periodic table or chemical bonding. Then if some compound having metal and non-metals, metal plus non-metal, then for now we can consider them as ionic compound. For now, is that okay, beta? Will you be able to identify ionic compound? Will you be able to identify? Okay, Abhiram. Yeah, Abhiram will be able to. Yes, Niharika will also. Right. Okay. So if compound is ionic, then in that case, the charge present on the ions we consider that it is real. And in case of covalent compound, the charge is fictitious. And how it is fictitious? We consider that, for example, H2O. So I am introducing another concept, that is electronegativity. Okay, so just understand what is electronegativity. We will cover this topic in detail in periodic properties. Electronegativity is nothing but tendency to attract the shared pair of electrons. What do you mean by shared pair? Shared pairs means if you see hydrogen, you must have studied that hydrogen has contributed one electron and another hydrogen has contributed another electron, and any bond is formed only when two electrons are coming closer, okay, or they in which one electron is contributed from each atom, right? So generally these atoms, generally in molecules, these electrons lie at the middle. They lie at the middle. Generally, just listen carefully. Generally in the molecules, these electrons lie in the middle. Okay. So if both atoms are similar, they are same, then these atoms will lie in the middle. But in the case of hydrogen and fluorine, what happens? We have seen that these electrons were more closer towards fluorine. We have found that these electrons are more closer towards fluorine. As these electrons are more closer towards fluorine, so what we do when we break, then we consider that hydrogen has given its electron to fluorine. So we take a hypothetical case. We consider that hydrogen had given its electron. That is why it is close to fluorine. So what we will do, as hydrogen had given its electron in hypothetical situation, so we will take +1 on the hydrogen and -1 on the fluorine, because fluorine has got one extra electron and hydrogen has given its electron hypothetically, right? In real, it is not completely towards fluorine, but it is slightly attracted towards fluorine, and it happens due to high electronegativity of fluorine. So electronegativity of fluorine is higher than electronegativity of hydrogen. But did you get it? What? Anyone else? Because this is very important. I can repeat it with another example. Let's say nitrogen and hydrogen. In this case also, we have found that the electrons are slightly attracted towards nitrogen. So if it is attracted towards nitrogen, what we will do, we will break this bond and bring negative on nitrogen and positive on hydrogen. Let's say let me take another example. Let's say it is NO. What we have seen, that electrons are slightly attracted towards oxygen. So we are going to break two bonds. So if you are breaking two bonds, you will bring positive charge on nitrogen and -2 charge on oxygen. On breaking single bond, you will provide 1 and 1, and on breaking two bonds, you will provide 2 and 2. On breaking 3 bonds, you will provide 3 and 3. Actually, there are 2 and 4 electrons will be there to form two bonds. Is that okay, beta? I will give you another example if you want. So what I have told you in covalent compounds, we are taking an hypothetical situation that if bonds breaks, then electrons will go towards the more electronegative atoms. That is why more electronegative atom will have negative charge, and electropositive, the other atom which is having less electronegativity, will have positive charge. Is that okay? I will give you some rules. It's a very simple concept. You will solve all the questions related to this topic. But before that, I am trying to explain this. What is this? So let's say there is ammonia. Okay, let's say there is ammonia. So if you want to break, as I have told you that nitrogen has a strong more nitrogen is more electronegative than hydrogen. Then what will you do? You will bring -1, -1, and -1 from the bottom. So it will have, nitrogen will have -3. So it will have -3 oxidation state. And each hydrogen will have 1, 1, and 1. Is that okay, beta? This point is clear. This point is clear. Quickly. Yes, Deepka. Okay, fine. Okay. Now there are some rules, beta. How will you decide the oxidation number? Because till now you do not know electronegativity, but I will tell you how. I will give you some important trend for electronegativity. But let us focus. Rules to predict oxidation number. So whenever there is a question, okay, they ask a question every year, almost every year. They will ask you a question almost every year, right? So if there is a question and it says predict the oxidation number of sulfur in given compound, or hydrogen in given compound, or fluorine in given compound. So whatever rules I am writing, you need to follow them in the similar manner. First rule is nothing but, first rule says, if any element is present in its free state, then its or then oxidation number of atom will be zero, big zero, beta. For example, if they write hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, sodium, then they write fluorine, they write, yeah beta, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, right, Hg, and their states are given already, the free state. Okay, so you if they are in the free state, 0 0 0 0 0 0. Okay, so helium solid, these will be in solid state, solid, this is in liquid, and all these are in gas. So if something is present in its free state, any element is present in free state, is, you can understand that it is elemental. Free state can also be understood as elemental state. Okay, free state, all elemental state. Then there is rule 2, element in combined state. The first is simple, summation of oxidation number of all the atoms of various elements in given compound will always be 0, right? As we know that all compounds are neutral, right? So if some compound is given, for example, any compound of your choice, any compound which is coming in your mind, let's say H2SO4 beta, H2SO4, right? So in this case, let's say oxidation number of hydrogen is X. So there are 2 hydrogen. Then oxidation number of sulfur is Y. Then oxidation number of oxygen is Z. And there are 4 oxygens. So if you sum them, if you add all of them, then its answer will be 0. Is this okay, beta? I will repeat it. As there are 2 hydrogen and I have taken oxidation number of individual hydrogen atom as X, so you will multiply by 2 into X. Oxidation number of sulfur, let's say I have taken Y. Then oxidation number of oxygen, Z. So their summation will be 0. Is that okay? Yes, fine. And B.
how can we do sum, sir?
Beta, sum it is just beta the compound is formed on the basis of, if you see, by sharing electrons or by exchange of electron. So the net exchange or the net sharing must be, it should be in a fashion that it should bring overall charge as 0, right? The sum, beta, you are asking sum, the sum is 0 because some of them will be present in positive and some will be present in negative. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so some of atom might have positive oxidation number and other atoms might have negative oxidation number, because some of them have lost the electron and others might have gained the electron. So the summation must always be 0. Nice question, beta, na? So sum of oxidation number of all the atoms in polyatomic anion or polyatomic ion will be charge present on that ion. Let me illustrate this example with this concept, this statement with example. For example, sulfate carries -2 charge. So as I have taken, for sulfur it was Y, for oxygen it was Z. So if you add it, then it the summation must be equal to -2. So this minus charge is on whole. This is not on oxygen or sulfur. We consider it that it is on a complete ion, complete complex ion, right? So in any other complex, जैसे carbonate ion, let's say the charge on carbon is P, on oxygen is Z. So P plus 3Z must be equal to -2. Is that okay, beta? So if you know Z, then you can easily calculate P. Okay. So I am telling you, let's say Z is -2. What will be the value of Y and P? Any one of you? If the value of Z is -2, or I can say oxidation number of, just I am giving you question.
-6, sir.
If oxidation number of oxygen is -2 in above example, first you tell me the value of Y, and second you tell me the value of P. Come on, quickly. Yeah, you have given the right answer. What about others? What about others? Yeah. So what about others? Anyone else? In sulfate, sulfur, oxidation number of sulfur, that is Y, and in carbonate, oxidation number of carbon. Please, quickly, come on. But if it is of -2, then others should be positive. Deepika, no, we have not done the calculation rightly. We have not done the, you are not using your pen, beta. Deepika, you are not using your pen. You are just solving without using your pen and paper. That is why you are doing such mistake. Anyone else? Quickly. Guys, simple. It's a very simple now. Y, you want to calculate Y. So put value of 4 minus 2 is equal to -2. Right? So if you solve it, then Y will come as -2 plus 8, that is +6. So answer, sulfur will have +6. And in carbonate also, if you keep P plus 3 minus 2 and -2, then if you solve it, then P will become +4. Is that okay? Please quickly. Is that okay? Yes, Niharika. What about others? Siddharth, Tanushree, Tarun, Deepika. Yes, Deepika. Okay. So we will do many questions. I have just given you one illustration. We will do many questions. Okay. So this was, there are two rules, simple rules: summation of all of oxidation number of all the atoms of various elements in given compound will always be 0. See, they are not going to ask you these statements. They are going to ask the direct question. So you do not need to uh, learn or memorize these things. Just understand the concept. Okay. Now, the third statement in combined state is very simple. The oxidation number of fluorine in any compound or ion will always be beta -1. There are very few things in chemistry where we can write with the full confidence that always. So fluorine, if you see fluorine anywhere, just remember this statement: fluorine will always have -1. It is the most electronegative atom. Fluorine is most electronegative atom. So it will always try to attract the electrons. It will always try to attract the electron or gain the electron. It is the most electronegative atom. It is the dada or the boss of the ring. Okay, that is why fluorine will always have -1 oxidation number. Okay, so as it is the most electronegative, it always tries to attract the shared pair of electron, or in any ion it will gain electron always, right? Then B, C, D. So you need to apply these rule in the manner I am writing. So that will help you to solve the question if even if you do not have complete information. The next is, do you understand alkali metal and alkaline earth metals? Do you understand alkali metals and alkaline earth metals? Alkali metals, if you see alkali metals anywhere, alkali metals will always have beta, we are discussing about combined state, right? Always I am talking, yes Tanushree, I am talking about always a combined state. Okay, so by default, if I am now writing, I am always talking about combined. I am not talking about free state. We have already discussed free state. So now these all the rules are for combined state. So alkali metals will always have +1. What are the alkali metals? Lithium, sodium, so yes, potassium, rubidium, and cesium we do not consider. So these are 5. Okay, if you see them in any compound, what will you do? You will always consider positive, right? Any example. Okay, let's say LiNO3. As I have told you, lithium will always possess +1 in any compound. So you, with this information, you can write Li +1 and NO3 minus. Okay, Li will always have +1. So to make the summation 0, the other complex part, that is nitrate ion, must have -negative charge. So with this information, you have also got another information that nitrate ion carries -1. Okay, if I will write Na2SO4. In this case also, you can write Na is +1, but there are two Na. Okay, so 2 Na will give charge on sulfate as -2. So in any compound, let's say LiCl, then also Li will have +1 charge, or it will have +1, right? In all compounds, there is no exception. They are present in any compound in combined state, then all the alkali metals will have +1. And all alkaline earth metals, if you see periodic table, earth metal, they will always have, always, beta +2. That is fixed. So if you remember these rules, your chemistry will become a bit easier. And all alkaline earth metal, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, and then barium, and then radium. But this is radioactive. Here also cesium is radioactive. So we just discuss beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, and barium. So if you see these elements in any compound, these will always have +2. For example, BaO2. Okay. So in this case, barium will have +2 without any exception. You do not worry about oxygen. If you see barium in any compound and try to recall it belongs to alkaline earth metal, as it belongs to alkaline earth metal, then it will always have +2. Is that okay, beta? Is that okay? Yes. So the next rule, very simple and very useful, that is E for hydrogen. Yes, beta. Tell me.
Sir, fluorine is a electrogravity, no, sir?
Please tell me. Please repeat it again, beta.
Fluorine is a electrogravity, no, sir?
Beta, I am not able to. Can you please write in the chat? Fluorine is most electronegative, beta. Still, I have not discussed about chlorine, but fluorine is most electronegative. You just remember that no other atom has more electronegativity than fluorine. Right? So E I am writing, beta. You can write in the chat. I will read it and then explain you. If you see hydrogen, beta, if you see hydrogen, and if it is combined with hydrogen combined with metal, then it will have -1. And if it's combined with non-metal, then beta it will have +1. Is that okay?
Sir, nitrogen also same, no, sir?
No, nitrogen, no, beta, not for non. It is for hydrogen only. I will explain for nitrogen, chlorine, sulfur, oxygen. You just remember these oxidation number of fluorine, oxidation number of alkali metals, and these hydrogen. They are going to help you. In adverse situations when you are not having any information. Then also they will help you. Okay, when you are having very less knowledge, then these three rules: oxidation number of fluorine always -1, oxidation number of alkali metals always +1, oxidation number of alkaline earth metal always +2. For hydrogen, if it is combined with metals, then it is -1. For example, if hydrogen is combined with metals, then it is known as hydride. Just for example, NaH. Do you understand what are metals and what are non-metal? Generally, metals are placed on the left hand side of the periodic table. S block, D block, and some of the lower part of the P block, they are non-metal. They are metals. S block, D block, F block of the periodic table, and the lower part of the periodic table, they are nothing but they are just metals. Some of the elements of the P block are non-metals. So non-metals are very less. Almost 80%, or to be precise, 78% elements of the periodic tables are metals, and very less elements are non-metals. So in NaH or calcium H2 or in aluminum hydride, or if you see any metal or hydrogen combined with any metal, these are all examples of hydrides. Hydrides means hydrogen is present in -1. In this hydrogen -1. One atom is in -1. Remember, one atom. This is also -1. In LiAlH4, this is very important reagent known as lithium aluminum hydride. You will see this in organic chemistry while you are studying lithium aluminum hydride. And in salt, it is written as LaH. If you want to conclude, if you want to find out the oxidation number of hydrogen, it is again -1. Whenever hydrogen is combined with metals, it will always have sodium borohydride, NaBH4. This will also have in this case also hydrogen will have -1. Is that okay, beta? Is that okay? Niharika, Aviram, Tanusri. Yes, fine. Great. And I am also giving you some examples, beta, because through that you will be aware of some important compounds. Okay. Slowly and gradually, if you read them 3 or 4 times, then you will be aware of these compounds. These are very, so all hydrides, I am just writing one statement. All hydrides are strong reducing agent. Just write this statement and later we will understand what is reducing agent. For now, you just write it. So when you are revising it, then that time you will understand the concept of reducing agent. If it is present with, if hydrogen is present with non-metals, if it is present with non-metal, write H2O, NH3, H2S, also PS3. In this case, hydrogen will always have, individual atom of hydrogen will have +1. Here also +1, here also +1, here also +1. Is that okay? Is that okay? So I am giving you some homework. I am giving you homework on the basis of above rules. Try to figure out oxidation number. Calculate oxidation number. Oxidation number of underlined element. Underlined element in following examples. So first, I am writing B2H6. So I am asking about this thing. Second, H2O2. Third, Na2S. Fourth, Mg3P2. Fifth, Mgf2. Sixth, O2. So I will be sharing this document which I am writing, right? Seventh, KO2, O2F2, ninth, OF2, 10th, KO3. So these are the examples. I am just underlining. So using the rules, you just try to figure out the oxidation number of underlined element. If I am not underlined the, for example, in KO3, I have not underlined the potassium. I have not underlined the potassium beta, right? I have not underlined the potassium. Then in this case, I expect you to know the oxidation number of potassium by the given rules, right, beta? So in the next class, we will cover this oxidation number topic and we will do many number of questions. and it's a very simple topic, and each year they are going to ask 1 or 2 questions, and apart from that this concept is used to solve the other questions of the other chapters, right? So it's a very simple and very easy topic that they might give you that find out the oxidation number of oxygen in KO3. Okay, so it's a simple question and it will fetch you some 4 marks, right? So any doubt beta? Any doubt till now? Any doubt till now? And tell me, how was the class? Sir, when will you give us notes to write in class? Can you show questions? Yes, beta. These are questions. But notes will be provided as soon as I will share on Telegram, and they will also be uploaded on app as well. So you can write questions, beta. You can write questions. Okay, thanks, Niharika. What about others? What about others? Try to solve. I understand that out of 10 you will be able to solve all of 10 if you read the rules very carefully and you know the addition and subtraction. In that case, you even not a single out of these 10, you will not do a single, you will not commit a single mistake. Okay, beta. So we will meet in next class and I will provide notes today only, right? Okay, thanks. Thanks, guys. Write this question. Just write the questions and tell me if you have written it. Done. Okay, thank you. Okay, beta, bye. Meet you in the next class.